It's been another busy week of card reveals with 42 in total to look at, so let's have a look at those together. Let's go. What's up, Illumineers? Charlie and Matheus here. So Matheus is going to join us for the news this week because we have a lot to talk about. So starting right away in Amber, we have Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain, a 7-cost uninkable 3/6 that quests for 2. Mickey is the first legendary for Amber revealed this set, and he can shift in for 5. He also has the bodyguard and support abilities, and he has the ability Musketeers United. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may draw a card for each character with bodyguard you have in play. That's a lot.
I think that's really interesting. With a lot of the new bodyguard cards coming in, there will be a lot of synergies. But also what I found really interesting is looking at the 2 keywords, bodyguard and support. That's the first time the Ravensburger doesn't describe those in a card.
There's just no space.
Probably lack of space, but it'll be interesting with new players if they will understand this. This card is beautiful.
It's a beautiful card. It's an interesting card. I think the ability, we know from the past, any card that offers card draw generally tends to do quite well. Tends to be one of the more sought after cards, but I can't help but feeling with the stats, with the setup required, that maybe a card like Stitch Surfer is maybe a better way to generate cards, because he only needs 2 on the board to give you 2 cards.
That's true.
If you can't keep bodyguards on the board, then Mickey doesn't really do much. But
is the Stitch also inkable? I don't remember.
Stitch is inkable as well.
Another difference.
And he has the 4 strength, so obviously Mickey Mouse can be Medusid right away. So we'll see. We'll see. I like this card. I think we could build a Musketeers deck, so that's super fun.
And it's probably an enchanted card. We'll see in the future.
But it may be enchanted this set. So the next card is another Mickey Mouse, leader of the band. He's a 4-cost inkable 2/5 that quests for 1. He has the support with the full definition. He also has the ability Strike Up the Music. When you play this character, chosen character gains support this turn. I think, did I say he quests for 1 law? He quests for 1 law. But I think this card's okay. It feels maybe like filler a little bit, but it potentially is also a shift target for Mickey Mouse Musketeer leader. I don't know, there's a lot of cards that offer support these days. It doesn't really excite me that much.
It doesn't feel special in many reasons for me. I don't play Amber, so it's hard to comment. Maybe he's a good gap of what they miss on that. Personally, I don't like this card at all.
I think it's just okay. Minnie Mouse now joining us. Minnie Mouse Musketeer Champion. She's a 5-cost uninkable 1/5 who quests for 2 law. She has the bodyguard ability, so she's going to synergize potentially with Mickey. And she has the ability Dramatic Entrance. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 5 strength or more. So I think this has potential. She acts kind of like World's Greatest Criminal Mind, obviously, which is a song that allows you to banish a 5 strength character or more. There aren't that many 5 strength characters in the game, really.
Just yet.
Of course, this is one of those cards that gets better with time, but there aren't that many targets. But she is a bodyguard. She does synergize with Mickey. She is uninkable, which might hold her back a little bit.
And she's beautiful, and she's a super rare.
Next we have Golden Harp, Enchanter of the Land, 1-cost inkable 1/4 who quests for 2. And she has the ability Stolen Away. At the end of your turn, if you didn't play a song this turn, banish this character. I mean, the stats on this are kind of crazy for a 1-cost, a 1/4 with 2 law. Obviously, you do need to be playing songs in order to keep her on the field. But in a Steel Song deck, you're
always playing, right?
You've got almost 1/3 of your deck is songs, so you could definitely do that. I think we could see kind of a Steel Song, maybe more aggro archetype coming out of this. But this card is really cool.
I think it's interesting. You can still hold in your hand until you see that you can play loads of songs in a row, and then that's when you put this card down. It's just fantastic altogether just because of the stats in such a low cost. I like this one.
So we have Atlantica, Concert Hall, a 1-cost inkable location with a willpower of 6 and a move cost of 2. This location has the ability Underwater Acoustics. Characters count as having +2 cost to sing songs whilst here. So I think this is kind of a little bit scary, mainly from one card alone, and that is Ursula, Deceiver of All, who suddenly becomes a singer 5, who can now sing 2 songs and then put it back onto the bottom of your deck. So that is kind of scary. Fortunately, so far, Emerald and Amber, which are the 2 ink colors you would need, don't have any crazy 5-cost songs, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. So there's that. One of the things that they did clarify on Discord is that this modification doesn't apply to characters with the singer ability. So something like Cinderella Ballroom Sensation doesn't become a singer 5. She still remains a singer 3 because it affects the actual cost of the character, not the
base
singer
cost
ability.
and not the singer. Yeah,
Yes.
which makes sense. Thanks God.
Yes,
Otherwise, it would be too
Or there'd
overpowered.
be an Ariel singer 9, which would be kind of
God,
crazy.
that'd be sweet.
So next card I do like
That
a
is
lot
a good one.
is a 2-cost inkable Ursula Vanessa. She's a 1/4 who quests for 1, and she has the Singer 4 ability. So she obviously has the same ability as a card like Bianca, a card like Sebastian. I think what sets her apart a lot from both of those cards is the stat line. The 1/4 can't be ignored. 4 defense is quite a lot, especially on turn 2. Often your opponent isn't going to be able to deal with her before you can get value out of it. Obviously, 4-cost songs, we only have a few really impactful ones at the moment. Things like Along Came Zeus, other ones that I can't think of right now, but I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
But don't forget, she's coming in a set where Sing Together is a new mechanic. So just being able to sing for 4 more points of singing
Yes.
is already a big help, right?
Yeah, and she's also the perfect shift target for Ursula, Eric's Bride, which is a card that, as you probably know from the last news, I'm really high on. So I think Steel Song is getting some big benefits with both of these cards. Next, we have another Musketeer. We have Goofy, Musketeer Swordsman. He's a 4-cost uninkable 3/4 that quests for 2. He has the ability, do you want to say it?
Engorge.
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 Whenever you play a character with Bodyguard, ready this character, he can't quest for the rest of the turn. So we're obviously seeing a lot of synergy around Musketeer characters this set. We're seeing a lot of synergy around Bodyguard characters this set, especially in Amber. So I think there could be some good interactions. Obviously, 2 law, not bad. Stats, not bad. Currently doesn't blow me away, but I think all things combined.
I think it could work. It's interesting. I'm just seeing this pattern of all bodyguards, all musketeers being uninkable.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, what was the intent behind it? Maybe they would be too overpowered
Yeah.
otherwise.
Obviously, there are some existing bodyguards that
they
are inkable,
inkable?
like the Donald Duck bodyguard is inkable.
The first Mickey is still is he?
I think he's inkable.
We'll show on the screen right
so yeah,
here.
so it's gonna be a tricky balance, but I don't know. I'm excited for
It's
the
beautiful.
Musketeers.
Yeah.
Next we have Stitch, Ballerino Iliano. I'm guessing Alien Dancer, probably. He's a 2-cost inkable 2/3 that quests for 1. He's a vanilla character, so he doesn't do anything, but we do have a lot of Stitches in the game. I think we're predicting more Stitches, so potentially he's going to be a good shift target, but
It's always good having 3 defense,
yeah.
right?
And cute card, we love
It's
Stitch.
beautiful.
Next up, we have Alma Madrigal, Matriarch of the Family, a 3-cost uninkable 1/3 that quests for 2. She has the ability All at the Table. When you play this character, look at your deck. You may reveal a Madrigal character card, shuffle your deck, and put the card on the top of your deck. So I think this is really interesting. Obviously, we've said before, we're not trading card game players, but I do know that Pokemon and Magic the Gathering have these abilities where you can search your deck for very specific cards. So whether this card is going to be that powerful, I don't know. But the fact that the door is now open for those types of abilities, I think is going to be really cool.
It's nice introducing the mechanics. Nice that she has such a big impact being Alma, being the grandma
Yes.
in the whole set, introducing the Madrigal family. I do wonder how long it takes as a player when I play this card. How long can I afford going through the whole deck? It's gonna be interesting seeing that, but it doesn't matter.
You mean because it'll take a while?
I can literally just go on and go on and go on until I
fast.
decide that I need to shuffle. But anyway,
Yeah. But I guess when you play her, you're playing her knowing
what you're looking for.
Oh, I want to
Exactly.
play Bruno
That
right
is a
now.
good
I want
point,
to play Mirabelle.
That's true.
So yeah, I think that's again. It depends a lot on the Madrigal synergy, but I'm super excited mechanically about what this introduces. And then next up we have Miracle Candle. This is a 2-cost inkable item with the ability Abuela's Gift. Banish this item if you have 3 or more characters in play, gain 2 lore, and remove up to 2 damage from chosen location. So
That's interesting.
it is an interesting one. It's nice to have more of these kind of items that give you lore, or just anything that gives you lore kind of without your opponent being able to interact. But I don't know, I wish it was giving more lore. I don't think the healing of the chosen location is impactful. Obviously, there are plenty of healing items, plenty of healing songs right now that aren't used. So that's 8 cards in Amber. We'll update the tracker now so you can see how we're progressing. But
We're getting there.
Yeah.
As of yesterday, we reached halfway through the 204 or 222 cards, including Enchanted.
With 2 weeks to go.
With 2 weeks to go, so I think news will come faster and faster, so check it out.
Okie dokie. So over in Amethyst, we have Peter Pan Shadow Fighter.
Oh.
He's a 3-cost uninkable 2/3 that quests for 1. He has the rush ability, he also has the evasive ability, and he has the ability fly, of course. Your other characters with evasive gain rush. So if you're thinking this sounds familiar, this is very similar to Peter Pan Shadow, which of course gives your rush characters evasive. So this is kind of the other side of the coin, giving your evasive characters rush. I think this is a super cool card. Like Peter Pan Shadow, it had its moment. It was really quite popular in those Ruby Amethyst decks. It kind of fell out of favor a little bit. I think the only downside of it really is that evasive characters tend to have lower strength and willpower to make up for the fact that they're evasive. Like I think if you look at a character like Ray, he's a 5-cost, but he only has he's a 3/3. So it's whether giving your evasive characters rush is that valuable. Maybe if you're really struggling to take down an opponent, but yeah, I don't know. I think Peter Pan Shadow is a better card, to be honest, because it makes those rush characters harder to kill, which is harder to banish, which is usually quite impactful.
This art is just
it's really stunning.
Another word. So congrats, Emily. This is amazing.
So next we have Belle, Accomplished Mystic. I know this is a card Matheus is very excited about. She's a 5-cost inkable 4/4 that quests for 2. She can shift in for 3, and she has the enhanced healing ability. When you play this character, move up to 3 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So yeah, I think this ability, the moving damage ability, it was obviously introduced in the last set. Not really utilized that much at the moment, but this set is introducing quite a lot of this, so maybe we'll be seeing more of this moving damage. But I mean, it's a beautiful card. I don't know whether it's a playable card, but next we have Flotsam, Ursula's baby, a 3-cost uninkable 4/2 that quests for 1. He has 2 abilities. The first is Quick Escape. When this character is banished in a challenge, return this card to your hand. And Ominous Pair, your character's name Jetsam, gain. When this character is banished in the challenge, return this card to your hand. So basically, Flotsam is there to make it difficult to remove your opponent's, to remove him and Jetsam. So it means that if you try and challenge them, they're going back into your hand. Obviously, things like Be Prepared, any of the damage songs are going to remove them straight away. But this is something that can be quite hard to play around. I think we saw that with Dr. Facilier, Agent Provocateur. So it is a fun ability, and it's nice to see those synergies between Flotsams and Jetsams. Like now, if you get set 1 Flotsam and Jetsam, set 3
into the lands,
Flotsam and Jetsam, set 4 Flotsam and Jetsam, and then you could be giving them rush, evasive,
everything.
Can't banish them in a challenge. I think
that's where Ethan, our friend, loves playing with the synergy. So now more reasons for that.
So it's really coming into its own. I'd be curious to see if someone can just build a Flotsam and Dex and Jet.
We will do that.
Very annoying to play against. And then the other side we have Jetsam, Ursula's other baby. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/4 that quests for 1. He has Challenger +2, and he has the Ominous Pair ability. Your character's name Flotsam, gain Challenger +2. So again, it's just kind of layering on those extra synergies, because rush, evasive, Challenger +2. It's pretty.
Not to forget that we introduced in the latest news the whole Flotsam Jetson card in one card.
The shift discard card. Yes.
So that's another way, because obviously that card counts as both cards. So it's just imagine all that together. It's just super cool.
Next up, we have Marshmallow, Terrifying Snowman. He's a 3-cost uninkable 0/3 who quests for 1, and he has the Behemoth ability. This character gets +1 strength for each card in your hand. So it's very similar to Jafar, Keeper of Secrets, but Jafar, Keeper of Secrets is way better because he's inkable, he has more more strength, and he quests for 2 law. So I think that's a card.
It's more willpower.
Yes, exactly. More willpower. So that was a card that didn't see much play.
No, that is true. I felt like he had in the beginning, as soon as he came out, at least, maybe
in your deck.
Mistake. In my deck, it was there in my deck. But as Charlie said, he's a 4, so it's a little bit higher cost, but it's inkable.
Yeah.
And it has so much more willpower.
I think the fact that it's inkable, bigger willpower, bigger law. But I think this is an interesting ability. Obviously, Amethyst, you have plenty of cards in your hand most of the time. So he could surprise your opponent, but I don't know. Next up, we have Poor Unfortunate Souls. It's a 2-cost inkable song. You can return a character, item, or location with 2 cost or less to their player's hand. Obviously, this is Befuddle, but a song, which is on asteroids.
Asteroids.
So that's it's really interesting that it's a song. I think there is a lot of potential here. It's something that could be sung by Ursula, Deceiver of All, twice, so that can be quite powerful to really disrupt your opponent. The fact that it allows you to kind of get locations off the board as well, items off the board, even if it's just slowing your opponent down a little bit, at least it's giving Amethyst a way to deal with those things that can be a bit annoying sometimes.
It's a beautiful card. I will keep repeating that.
And Befuddle's a card that sees play. I feel like this is probably
it's a better
be,
Befuddle, yeah.
The fact it's singable is great, really. That's about it. And so we'll update the tracker now. That was 6 cards for Amethyst this week.
That's it. Let's see. One. There you go.
Alright, so over at Emerald, we're starting off with Pete Rotten Guy. He's a 4-cost inkable 1/5 who quests for 1, vanilla character. I know you love the art on this one.
Insane. Again, it's a Stefano Zanchi, so it's to expect. It's our favorite arts are always from the end. Eddie Welly is another one that we love it. It just looks epic. Yeah. That's it. Would we play that though? That's the question.
I don't know. He has the Musketeer keyword, so
he's a Musketeer.
The Musketeer classifications. That is one thing. But yeah, I mean the
two
villain
as well.
Yeah, the 2 laws.
So it has the synergy with the villains with getting more lore, right? So maybe.
Yeah, maybe in like a Musketeer aggro deck I could see it, but that might be about it. We have Hidden Inkcaster, a 2-cost uninkable item. This item has 2 abilities. The first one is Fresh Ink. When you play this item, draw a card. The second ability is Unexpected Treasure. All cards in your hand now count as being inkable. I think this one is super interesting. Obviously, there's the meme, the joke that Emerald struggles with having a lot of uninkable cards in their hand, so this is an item that's going to be helping with that. The fact it draws you a card when you play it means that it's giving value there. Yeah. I don't think it means that players are going to be able to have 30 uninkables in their hands. There's too much.
There's the risk.
Yeah, if you don't have this item in play, or your opponent banishes this item, then it really can hurt you in the long term. So I think players will still have to be a little bit careful with the ratios, but maybe it'll mean that you can play a few more and then really try hard in your altering phase to get this item.
And obviously this item is an inkable as well, so there's also
the item itself is an inkable, yeah. But I think
it pays off if it works out.
I think this one is interesting. Next up, we have Hades Foul Player, a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 1. He has the ability Get Down to Business. Exert him to banish chosen character of yours, and then you can play another character from your hand with the same name. So I think this has a lot of potential, because obviously you could get rid of something like a 1-cost Stitch New Dog, and then play Stitch Surfer. So it has some really great potential to be able to get those really high-cost characters out. Obviously, it's one of those abilities that requires him to be on the board first, so that's always a little bit trickier to set up. There are plenty of removals, but in the 4-cost slot, it's not impossible. So yeah, I think that whether it's going to see high-level play, I don't know. Whether it's going to be fun, I think it's going to be incredibly fun to play with this one.
It's a legendary as well.
Next up, we have Hey Clumsy Rooster. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/3 that quests for 2. He has the ability Let's Fatten You Up. When you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in their inkwell than you may put the top card of your inkwell. You may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell, face down and exerted. So this is finally some ramp for Emerald. I mean, it sounds pretty fun.
Sounds pretty scary.
Yeah. But it essentially allows you to come back a little bit for Emerald players who are playing against Sapphire, a way to kind of catch up on the ink, which is really nice. And yeah, it's inkable. It's inkable in Emerald. That's always a positive. Okay. But I think even without the ability, he's a 2/3 who quests for 2. I think that's
he's a great card.
Quite good in aggro decks. So.
And he's we're big Moana and Hey fans in this house, so that is amazing.
Next we have Prince Philip, Warden of the Woods, a 4-cost uninkable 3/4 who quests for 2. He has the Shining Beacon ability. Your other hero characters gain ward. Opponents can't choose them except to challenge. This is really cool. This is kind of like Aurora Dreaming Guardian, specifically for hero characters. We're going to see some more cards that specifically buff heroes, so obviously there's the kind of the potential now for hero style builds in the game. I think this is quite cool. It's a shame he's an inkable, but maybe that's needed to kind of balance the power a little bit. Up next we have Jasmine, Desert Warrior. She's a 5-cost and inkable 3/3 that quests for 2. She has the ability Smart Maneuver. When you play this character, and each time she is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. I mean, more discard for Emerald, always good to see. I think the fact that it's both on play and when she's challenged is going to be quite impactful.
That's the main difference, right? With all the Flame Riders and all the other cards, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Obviously, she's also costly, more costly.
She is costly, but yes, you're right. She fits a very similar spot to Flynn Rider. She's very disruptive to the opponent. People are going to not want to challenge her because they don't want to discard a card. And she also puts that added pressure by forcing the discard when she's played.
Exactly. But you're right, because she comes in play as well. That's the main difference here. Yeah. She's more expensive, but she plays 2 parts here, so quite good.
I think she's a very cool card. Okay, so we have next Pegasus Cloud Racer, a 5-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 2. He can shift in at 3, he has evasive, and he has the ability Hop On. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, your characters gain evasive until the start of your next turn. So this, super cool. Like, we're seeing a lot of these abilities now where if you shift your character in, then you get an added benefit. Giving your whole board evasive is a very cool thing because it's going to protect your characters potentially in your next turn, so you can get some lore. Here's Dwight. The whole family on camera now.
Yes. No, I think well, we just introduced earlier last week the baby Pegasus, right?
Yeah,
so I think that is another one of those shipped characters. It's nice to see those characters coming back, and I think this set especially is a lot about the sidekicks.
Yes.
So it's just bringing him even more to the front line. So I love it.
So that's 6 cards in green. We're updating the tracker now. Okay, so moving over to Ruby, we have Lumiere, Fiery Friend, a 2-cost inkable 2/2 that quests for 1. He has the ability Fervent Address. Your other characters gain +1. I mean, that seems quite good. I remember in set 2, I really liked the Grand Duke, who was giving princess characters +1 strength. This is basically giving everyone +1 strength, which can be quite impactful. It helps buff those 2 strength characters up to be a bit stronger.
It's an easy one, it's an early one to put in play.
I think 1 strength shouldn't be underestimated. This is enough to make Maui be able to take something down like the Queen's Castle on his own. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I think this could see play. Up next, we have Namari, Heir of Fang, a 3-cost uninkable 2/3 that quests for 1. She has the ability 2 Weapon Fighting. During your turn, whenever this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, you may deal the same amount of damage to another chosen character.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. But again, another one that looks really fun. 2 strength isn't really huge, but if you're able to deal that same amount of damage to another character, it's great. If she's being buffed with something like the Crab, if she's being buffed even by Lumiere, then she's potentially dealing a lot more damage. So it's cool.
So I feel like there's a pattern, right? There were more cards like that this set as well.
Yes, Mulan has the same ability, the Floodborn Mulan.
Cool.
Mulan's, I think, is a lot more impactful because she can deal it to 2 other characters, and she can shift in. So Namari is kind of like a smaller version of Mulan.
Followed by Rhea.
Yeah, so also from the same franchise, we have Rhea, Guardian of the Dragon Gem. She's a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 2. She has the ability We Must Join Forces. When you play this character, ready chosen character of yours at a location. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. Again, I think this is like a very similar ability to what we saw with Moana in the last set. Whether it's that great, I don't know. It entirely depends on how locations kind of shake out. Obviously, it didn't have a huge impact in the last set. There were just a couple that really we used a lot. But maybe in a Pride Lands red yellow deck, she could see some play. Next up, something that I am quite excited about. It's Medallion Weights. It's a 2-cost inkable item. It has the ability Discipline and Strength. Exert, spend 2 ink. Chosen character gains +2 this turn. Whenever they challenge another character this turn, you may draw a card. So I think obviously Ruby is an ink color that struggles maybe a little bit with card draw, but it's one that really excels at challenging. So here we go. Here's an item that both rewards you for challenging and does so by giving you cards. I think where this gets crazy is if you think about a card like Scar Vicious Cheetah. You give him +2. You then potentially take out multiple targets in a single turn, and you get lots of cards for doing it. I think this is really, it's really going to be a sleeper. This card, I think it's gonna come in and do stuff.
And it's inkable, so it's always, even if you're not sure, you can put it there just to ink in your deck.
Up next we have Benja, and I believe the translation literally is Brave Landlord, but I'm going to guess it's Brave Chief.
I hope so.
He's a 4-cost inkable 5/3 who quests for 1 vanilla. Not much to say about this one. One of those kind of, I suspect, really filler cards. 3 willpower, not great, but the 5 strength is nice. You can take out Maui's, you can take out locations, but the bravest landlord there is. Next up, we have another item. This time it's Vital Sphere, a 1-cost inkable. This has the ability Extract of Ruby, pay 1, banish this item, chosen character gains Rush, and gets +2 strength this turn. I don't know, personally, I'm not a huge fan of these items that need to be banished in order to gain their effect, but potentially it's a really good way to surprise your opponent. You could bring out something pretty strong, but you could even do that with something like Benja that we just saw, because then he's going to be
Rush,
he's going to have 7 strength, so it really buffs up those vanilla characters. But
I think it does work. I think it's one of those, right? Because it's inkable as well. There's not much risk.
But we'll see how playable it is. And of course, if you're wondering which Disney franchise this is from, it's one of those ones that are exclusively from the Lorcana universe. So so that was another 6 cards in Ruby, and we'll update the tracker now. Starting us off on Sapphire, we have the Queen Diviner. She's a 3-cost inkable 3/3 who quests for 1. She's a legendary card in Sapphire, and she has the ability Consult the Grimoire. Exert this character. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an item card and put it into your hand. If that item card costs 3 or less, you may play that item for free, and it enters play exerted. Put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Phew, that was a mouthful. So I think, I saw a lot of people getting quite excited about this card online. I think especially with this set, we're seeing a lot more potential for really strong item builds. Obviously, we saw kind of the beginning of it with the last set, with the Ruby, Sapphire, Tamatoa decks. But this potentially could be quite strong, being able to play like a Fishbone Quill right away without having to pay ink for it. There are plenty of items that are going to be good targets for this.
And it's very early game as well,
Yes,
so I feel like, except for some maybe steel decks, it's hard to take her out with songs.
It is, that's very true.
Because it's turn 3. If it was a little bit late, then yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think it has potential.
I think she'll be an enchanter as well, just between us.
We have Ariel Treasure Collector, a 6-cost uninkable 3/4 that quests for 3. Ariel has Ward, and she also has the ability The Girl Who Has Everything. While you have more items in play than each opponent, this character gets +2 Law. So this one is really, really scary. I think there's often, Sapphire will often have more items than their opponent, unless their opponent is also Sapphire. So Ariel's going to be kind of automatically on 5. The fact that she has Ward makes her very difficult to remove. And then, she's just a prime target. Another prime target in Sapphire for the Lucky Dime, potentially getting 5 Law off her with the Lucky Dime.
It is a little bit scary. And you probably noticed the item that she's holding is the item we covered earlier in Emerald as well.
Yes. Next up, we have Hades' Meticulous Planet, a 4-cost inkable 3/6 who quests for 1, vanilla. Really, I think this is just filling out that slot for limited formats for things like drafts and sealed. So he's there. I think he does his job in that format. I can't see him particularly being that useful elsewhere.
He has a big butt.
He has a big butt, and maybe if we get a Floodborn Hades in Sapphire, it could be something that's used. Maybe even as a shift target for the King of Olympus Hades, but
with all the villains in play.
I don't know. I think this card is just okay, but I absolutely freaking love the art. The art is just amazing. Hades cards always look great.
It's always great or cheesy.
Next up, we have another Prince Philip, this time Gallant Defender, a 3-cost inkable 1/3 who quests for 2. He has the support ability as well as the ability Best Defense. Whenever one of your characters is chosen for support, they also gain resist +1 this turn. So I think this is really cool. The fact that he especially in builds that are running a lot of support characters, being able to not only give some extra strength to a character, but also kind of giving them that extra protection with resist means that they can potentially hit a target that's a little bit stronger without being banished themselves. So that's really cool.
That is, yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I actually don't even know much about the support build, to be honest. I'm so uncommon to that.
But I think you prefer this one to the other Prince.
I do prefer this one. I mentioned before, I do like this one more. But again, if I would play either, I wouldn't know.
So next we have Farley, Mulan's mother. She's a 1-cost inkable 1/3, quest for 1, vanilla. Again, like
Alicia's 3
willpower. Maybe we'll see a Floodbone Farley, and then she'll be a good shift target for her. But otherwise, I think this card is very average. I can't see it being used.
Alicia.
A card that's maybe more interesting, Scuttle, Expert on Humans, is a 2-cost inkable 1/3 that quests for 1. He has the ability Let Me See. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an item card and put it into your hand, put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is just another ability letting you really search for the item cards, which obviously Sapphire will be wanting to do a lot. I think this, because it's an on-play ability compared to the Queen, has potential. I think this might be a good way to really look for those items in item decks. And yeah, great art. Love this art. Next up, we have Aurora Law Guardian, a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 2. She can shift in for 2, and she has 2 abilities. First up, Guardian. Opponents can't choose your items, acting as kind of a ward for items, which is something we haven't seen before. And she also has the ability Royal Assortment. Exert one of your items, look at the top card of your deck, put it on either the top or the bottom of your deck. I think this card has a lot of potential. Firstly, the ward for items is just terrifying. It's already hard to remove items. There are very limited options, especially in some ink colors. So potentially removing that, I think this means we're going to see some board wipes for items. I think it's desperately needed. And then the second ability, I think, is, again, it's another good one. Using something like popsicles that don't really gain or lose anything from being exerted, I think means that they're going to be a prime target for this ability. And next up we have Dang Hu, Talon Chief, a 5-cost inkable 3/5 who quests for 2. She has the ability You Better Talk Fast, your other villain characters gain support. So this is another one of those cards that's going to be interacting with villains. We've seen that already with Hades, King of Olympus, Queen of Hearts, and now we have another one. I don't think we have enough cards yet, even with this set, to have a full villains build, but I think it's definitely got potential. We're definitely going to be seeing more of this. But yeah, we have John Silver, Terror of the Empire, an 8-cost inkable 8/8 who quests for 3 vanilla. This is a boy who has a really big butt. We've seen a lot of these kind of cards in Sapphire and Steel. A lot of these cards that don't see much play. We are huge Treasure Planet fans in this house, but I don't know. I don't think John Silver's going to see that much play.
I can't see it.
But he is a pirate, he is a captain, so maybe there'll be some synergy there. This is an item that is a little bit more exciting, I think almost broken in our mind. This is the Great Stone Dragon. It's a 3-cost inkable item. It has 2 abilities. Asleep, this item enters play exerted, which basically means you're not going to be able to use it the first turn it's played, unless you have a card like Aubrey from Atlantis. And then it also has the Awaken ability. You can exert this item, put a character card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exerted. And I think that is crazy. It basically acts a little bit like a Fishbone Quill, except you're not sacrificing from your hand. It's like a Heart of Atlantis, but you're not. Oh, Heart of Tefiti, sorry, but you're not sacrificing from your deck.
It makes no sense. That's the summary from it. It makes no sense. Sapphire has so much ways to do that already. Why to give a way that is even OP as that? I'm just frustrated.
I don't think it'll be as strong as it seems, but I think it's a very, very good option for ramping.
Yeah.
Knowing what's going in there, having control over it. Yeah. That is it's
but they're all about ramping already, and it's an uncommon card. Everyone's gonna have this card.
Yes. This is Matheus ranting
I'm
about
just
Sapphire.
frustrating. This
Play
is gonna be
Sapphire.
so hard.
Don't hit the play. Don't hit the play.
I'm gonna have to
game.
change the Sapphire.
Next up, we have Field of Ice, a 3-cost inkable item. It has the ability Icy Defense. Whenever you play a character, they gain resist +1 until the start of your next turn. I'm really struggling personally to get my head around like how useful this can be. I think if you have a rush character, giving Maui, for instance, resist +1 could be quite good in a Ruby Sapphire build. Maybe it's good at protecting your characters from things like spells, so they can at least survive a turn to use their abilities. Maybe something like the Queen, it can give her that extra little bit of protection, but I don't know, I wish it lasted a little bit longer than just the turn they're played, because a lot of characters aren't going to be able to make use of that. Next up, we have a location, Ariel's Grotto, a secret place, a 2-cost inkable with 7 willpower and a move cost of 2. It has the ability Treasure Trove. While you have 3 or more items in play, this location gains +2 lore. I mean, this one, we're seeing, of course, more Sapphire cards that interact with items, along with the aerial card. I think this potentially could be quite strong at a 2 cost. It is something you could drop maybe later game and still have a lot of ink left over once you've been able to develop some items on your board. Okay, so that is a total of 11 cards for Sapphire, so let's update the tracker now.
They just pushed forward because Sapphire was falling behind with the latest announcement, so now we got a lot of cards just ding, ding, ding,
And
ding.
there they are. Alright, over in Steel we have Donald Duck Buccaneer, a card that both Matheus and I absolutely love. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/4 who quests for 1, and he's legendary in Steel. He has the ability Boarding Party. During your turn, whenever this character banishes a character in a challenge, your other characters gain +1 this turn. Now, I think on paper, we've seen a Mulan card very similar to this. Doesn't sound that great, doesn't sound that strong, but then you look at the classifications Donald has. He has Pirate and he has Captain, which means that if you're playing a Ruby Steel Pirate build, if you've got the Jolly Roger, then you can play Donald, put him there immediately for free, make him a rush character, and then suddenly now your whole board is questing for a lot more than they were. Combine it with something like John Silver, who's getting lore because of the locations. I think this card has a lot of potential.
And he protects his me as well, which he, by default
he
performs a lot of
yes,
lore
yeah.
questing as well.
So
he's gonna be an enchanted, right? He has to
he
be
has
an
to be an enchanted.
We are
yeah.
big Donald Duck fans in this house, so he has to be.
I just think this card is absolutely amazing. The art is absolutely amazing. Great job to Federico. Love this card. Okay, so we have One Last Hope. It's a 3-cost uninkable song. Chosen character gains resist +2 until the start of your next turn. If a hero character is chosen, they may also challenge readied characters this turn. I think this has a lot of potential. It's basically giving one of your hero characters a similar ability to Cinderella Stouthearted, being able to challenge a readied character. That is quite powerful. And resist +2, yeah, not something to be ignored. I think that can have a lot of potential. Really helps you take out something like a Bucky, who your opponent is refusing to resist.
That is true.
Take out a character before they have a chance to do anything, really.
That's a really good point. It's a beautiful art.
It's really cool. Yeah, the Hercules cards, always with the best art.
Alice Pizzoni, so that means something when you see an art from her.
Next we have LeFou, Opportunistic Flunky. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 1, and he has the ability I Learn from the Best. During your turn, you may play this character for free if an opposing character was banished in a challenge this turn. So that's super interesting. It's kind of giving that challenger archetype a little bit over to Steel, kind of encouraging you to banish characters, to challenge characters in order to be able to play a character whose stats aren't too bad for free. I think if you're just playing him at full cost, maybe he's a little bit underwhelming, but I think that ability has a lot of potential.
It does. And it's a really cool art as well.
And it's very cool art. Who's he trapping in that?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. It has to be something small, right? Oh, it's probably one of the
furnitures.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe it's Lumiere.
It's Lumiere.
Alright, next we have Magic Broom Brigade Captain. He's a 6-cost inkable 2/6 who quests for 2. He has resist +1, as well as the ability Army of Brooms. This character has +2 strength for each other broom character you have in play. Playing him as he is, just okay, but if you synergize him with Mickey to reduce the cost, if you're able to actually buff him with a load of other broom characters, he could have potential to be quite strong. All I know is we're seeing enough cards now to build a broom deck, which we're very excited
so
about.
excited. It's been a request all over the place in the channel, but also I think the best combination is Amethyst still for that deck. Right?
Absolutely, yeah, because you've got
Fiancé
the Mickey Sorcerer, yeah. Next we have Argus, the Cyclops, a 2-cost inkable 4/1 who quests for 1 vanilla. I think I'm always a little bit biased as a Steel player. I see something with 1 defense and I'm like, okay, let me take that out right away. But I think non-Steel decks having to face up against a character with 4 strength can be quite strong.
That early.
It can take out quite a lot of characters.
Let's not forget he's a Titan. There's
And
so many
and it's a
synergies
Titan, that's very
in
true.
the Titan deck. Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to see more Titans to make that even
There's even
stronger.
Resist, right? Resist synergy in Titan, so you can
Yeah,
get
it
some of
gives
the
resist,
defense
yeah,
back
yeah,
from Resist.
exactly.
So that's good. Oh, this one is so cute.
Yes, we have Velocities, no nonsense instructor, a 4-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 2. He's got 2 abilities. At first, you've got to stay focused. Your hero characters gain Challenger +1, as well as Shameless Promoter. Whenever you play a hero character, you gain 1 more. So we obviously saw some synergy for villain characters. We're now going to see some synergy for hero characters. I think potentially, you know, there are so many characters in the game with the hero classification. Getting that Challenger +1 is very strong. And yeah, I think this has a lot of potential. And just getting more.
You're just
on
naturally
play.
earning lore just by playing, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he has to survive, but having a 3 willpower, hopefully he'll last at least 2 turns.
Yeah, and the fact he's only 4, hopefully, you know, you can maybe play him later on. You can play him followed by some
and then put
2-cost
loads of
heroes.
things in. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
true.
like that character. I like it a lot.
And
the
this
art,
art, oh my god.
yeah, big Philocrates fan, big Danny DeVito
I just cannot
fan,
pronounce,
so.
but yes.
A Philocatiti, sorry, even though I'm not pronouncing it.
I can't say that name. I can say Danny DeVito, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, we have Aladdin, Determined Swordsman, a 1-cost inkable 1/3 who quests for 1, vanilla. I think there's not much to say about this one other than that he is a good shift target for Aladdin. I think one of the big problems with the Floodborn Aladdin was that he didn't have a strong shift target. Baby Aladdin was just automatically removed most of the time before you could shift. 1/3 it's always one of those willpowers that's difficult to deal with. So next up we have RLS Legacy's Cannon, a 3-cost uninkable item. It has the ability Baboom. Exert this item, pay 2 ink and discard a card, and you can deal 2 damage to chosen character or location. I know Matheus and I are going to disagree on this one. I think this card is unplayable. I think the cost in order to use it is crazy unless you're running a deck that has maybe Whole New World to keep your hand incredibly full, or is synergizing with something like the Sheriff of Nottingham, which is going to be giving you an extra damage when you discard the card. I just feel like there are many situations you want to sacrifice that much card advantage in order to deal 2 damage, especially when you could just have Baboom in your hand and basically do the same thing. The only thing is obviously this can be used turn after turn.
That's it, yeah.
But
It is a tricky one. I can't justify much, and the fact that it's an inkable, it makes it even harder to want to have something like this in my deck.
I
I'm not very
don't see this
convinced
one's
either,
going to
yeah.
play. Oh, you changed your mind.
The
You were
more,
high on it
the more I
before,
hear,
yeah.
but I still think some people will find a way to use it.
I think there's a
And
way.
we'll see.
I think in a maybe, as I said, with the Sheriff of Nottingham, focusing on more on like discarding cards to deal damage.
Because sometimes you actually want to discard. There are situations that you might want it.
Sometimes, yeah. Before a Whole New World, maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it. So the last one this week, we have Thebes, the Big Olive. It's a 2-cost inkable location with 7 willpower and 1 move cost. It has the ability, if you can make it here, during your turn, whenever a character banishes another character in a challenge whilst here, gain 2 lore. The move cost is very cheap. The effect is actually really good. I think combine this with something like Goofy, Super Goof. You can put him in here as a rush and potentially deal gain 4 lore in a single turn, which can be pretty insane.
Yeah.
But again, I think all of the Hercules cards, the art is just absolutely stunning. So
It's beautiful.
yeah, this one looks great.
So how many cards we had in Steel, Charlie?
That was 8 cards in steel, so let's update the tracker.
We're coming to an end.
Yeah.
We have all the cards, all the 6 different ink types tracked.
So that was this week. I think, it's been really fun talking about the news together, not doing it on my own.
Exactly. I hope you enjoyed this format. Obviously, feel free to be blunt and say, "Get out of here, Matheus."
Yeah,
I'm happy to have
leave
your
it to Charlie.
your British accent narrating those cards. We just thought it would be more natural, more casual, and even more fun.
Engaging,
way,
yeah.
engaging.
And it's nice to see Matheus's face. He has a very nice face. So, that's it for this week. Let us know in the comments which cards you think are great. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the RLS Legacy's Cannons is unplayable? Feel free to sound off. And
do you agree with me with my guesses for the enchanted cards? Let us know now in the comment section. And thank you so much.
Yeah, and until next time, and I suspect it's going to be quite soon with the next news. Happy questing.
questing.